All right, everybody, welcome back to the Stack and Wins podcast. This is Josh.
And this is Brian.
Okay, we're gonna get started. So today we're gonna take a little bit of a different route. We're still gonna touch on some stuff as far as the whole alcoholic stuff is concerned, because obviously that's the groundwork of this whole podcast. But we don't want to spend every time we're on here talking and harping on that, because there are other organizations that are surrounded by that, but it is important, and we will discuss that stuff in detail also. But today we're going to talk a little bit about the growth around alcoholism and how we've become better, and what we've done from our experiences, through alcoholics, being alcoholics, and what we've come from afterwards. So Josh, so what's some of the things that you've done? You said you got something coming up this weekend, right?
I do. I got a high-powered rifle competition coming up Saturday. So
what do you have? So what do you do with those exactly? I know, like, my stuff for archery, it's pretty. I have a pretty good idea on that, but so these high power, what gauge rifle? Like, I don't know. I don't really know much about this stuff.
So it's a AR platform, like the service rifle, like the M16, with some modifications that are allowed. It's 223, your typical AR-15 civilians caliber. You also have the 5.56, which is more military spec, but I use 223, and we shoot out 200, 300, and then at 600 yards.
600 yards?
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow! Do you have a guy? Like, I've watched some of that stuff online before. Do you have somebody with you when you're doing it, or are you just doing that on your own? Like iron sights, you got
It's you can do iron sights, but scopes are authorized now. So for like the last 8 or 9 years, people have been allowed to use scopes, but it is the max is 4.5 power. So it's
4x.
Yeah, 4.5x. It's like that's it. So it's not like, oh my gosh, you're getting this great, but it definitely makes a difference over iron sights. So you still got to have a good hold, your trigger control, your breathing.
I'm willing to bet you wouldn't have been able to do that while you were drinking.
No, not at all. Not at all, man. Not at all. So yeah, we got a league match coming up. So it's a little laid back. Like, there's no one coaching you or like, hey, move. You've got to do all the wind dials and elevations yourself. But for a league match, if you're a young shooter in that and somebody's noticing something, they're like, hey man, you can coach them a little bit. So it's pretty laid back.
So it's not far enough you're worried about like the Coriolis effect, like I saw in that movie Shooter.
No, not at all. Yeah, no, not at all. But wind can get you at 600 yards. Let me tell you that.
I can imagine. I mean, it gets me at 60 yards with an arrow, but I mean, granted, arrow is a little bit bigger. Wow, that's pretty cool. So is this stuff that you and your father-in-law do together?
Yes. Yeah, we shoot together. This one I'm going by myself. He's going to be down in Virginia for a different match. So he's heading down there for the Navy and Marine Corps, like East Coast match. So he helps out with that. So I'm shooting this one just solo, going up. Or else we normally would go up together and we shoot together. Oh, you tapped it.
So there it goes. He's doing that this weekend?
Yeah, for the next week. He'll be down there for pistol, rifle, yeah.
Okay.
Helping young shooters, shoot competition, everything like that. So
okay. That's crazy, man. I've never shot that far in my life.
Let me tell you, the first time I got on that range, like a 600 yard range, and sat there at 600 with the naked eye, I was like, wow. I was like even behind the rifle with the scope, it's still like, you're like, ooh, that's like, you got to have a good hold. But I was like, how did these people used to shoot with iron sights?
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm like, I can't see nothing. But it's once you get into it, it's not as intimidating. Then you just run your routine, your program every shot.
Oh yeah, you probably got a shot process, right?
Yep.
Hey,
Yeah.
Speaking of shot process, so I got one for archery, and talk to me about that. I want to see what yours is compared to what I go through for mine, because I know in archery it's probably not a whole lot different. And there's a guy that I went through his shot process course for archery, and because you ever heard of target panic? Do you guys talk about that at all in your?
No.
Well, I don't want to
never.
really talk about it because I don't want you to get it, especially before Saturday. So we'll save my shot process and stuff for a later episode. But anyway, so talk about your shot process. What do you do for that?
So it's all a mind game. Like before we get up to the line, it's going through your routine. All right, do I have everything that I need? Set in place. You set your let's just say we're at the long line, 600 yards. It's all prone. It's all on belly, slow fire, so single shot.
Okay.
So you're getting everything. You're just running through your. All right, do I got my book? Do I got my dope?
What's a dope? I don't know what that
dope
is.
is data of previous engagements. So it's sort of like you already know what your elevation, your wind should naturally be shooting. So you're not like, hey, I'm shooting at 600 yards and I got my 100-yard dope. Guess what's going to happen?
So do you already know the elevation for the course you're going to?
Yes, for my rifle and that ammo.
Okay. So that's already predetermined before you get there.
Yep.
It should be anyway.
So I keep a book and I track my dopes. And there's a lot of things that can affect it, like temperature and stuff like that. But for the most part, you have your dope and you dial it in, and that's going to put you on paper.
Now, do you get some, and maybe for the competitions you don't, like, do you get a chance to take a couple practice shots to see how everything's settled in and if you're sighted in for that particular course? Or when you walk up, like, that's it? Like, you don't get one or two practice shots.
Yes and no. So for this, like league matches, stuff like that, you get 2 sighter shots at every course of fire, right? So you get 2 sighters in to make sure you're dialed in. There also is other competitions where you have to know your dope. Every shot counts. But for like the league matches, we get 2 sighter shots for every course of fire.
And that's those. You say course of fire. You mean the different ranges that you're shooting?
Yeah, like you'll do, like we'll start with standing at 200 yards, right?
Okay. Yep.
And that's all slow fire, 1 shot at a time. And then you have sitting rapid at 200 yards, and then you move back to prone rapid at 300 yards, and then prone slow at 600 yards. So for each of those, you get 2 sighter shots.
How fast is rapid?
Rapid for like sitting, it's 10 shots in 60 seconds with a mag swap out.
Holy cow.
So it's not bad. Like once you do it, you get your rhythm down. You got about 4 to 6 seconds each shot.
Do you ever have time left on the clock?
I usually do. I usually have,
because you go through it a lot faster than you.
Yeah, and it's just slowing down, getting your rhythm. Like some days, I'll finish with 10 seconds, and some days I'm like 2 seconds before the buzzer.
Can you hear your heart beating?
Can't hear it, but you could see your pulse.
Oh,
like,
in the
sight. Yep.
What do they call it? Reticle?
The reticle.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of like, and that's where you get like a little pre-period to like get all set up, and then you're looking through the scope. And that's where I sort of usually use that to go, all right, where's my pulse at? Oh, it's 9 to 9. Okay.
Wait, what does that mean?
So you have rings, right? So you have the X, 10, 9, 8, 7. So I'll look and I'll get my...
So you can see... Let me see if I can dumb this down for someone that doesn't understand your language. Because it sounds like this has its own vocabulary, just like my bow hunting stuff. Just like submarine.
Oh, yeah.
Just like all this kind of... When you get into highly technical, it sounds to me like your 9 to 9 reticle, you can tell your heart beating because it's moving the reticle that much. Is that?
Yeah. So you'll be holding the rifle and you'll just see the do in the reticle, and you go, okay, I'm 9 to 9 today. I got a big.
Can you slow it by breathing?
You could.
I
mean, some people can. Usually, what I do is I just go, all right, and before each shot, I just close my eyes, and it usually stall. Like for me, it stalls real quick, and then I also know, all right, where's it going to be at the top of the pulse, and I get that centered up, so when it doom I'm like right on target. And sometimes I walk in and maybe I'm just a little bit more relaxed, or I don't know. I
Didn't drink another cup of coffee.
I only had 2 instead of like 4 before I got to the range. And it might be a good 10 to 10 pulse, which is amazing because now you're in the 10 ring.
10 smaller, right?
Yep. Yeah. So there's things like that. But usually, the program is all right. I'm thinking my thought process is all right. Every shot, only pulling the black, I start to get my jacket on, get everything set up, and then you get your stance, whether you're standing or how I want to be in prone. Like, all right, I like this, get my natural point of aim, and then you suit up and then you run through your program with some dry fire. And you just slowly go, okay, this is how each, like slow fire. I'm like, all right, I want my bullet here. For me, I don't keep the rifle in the shoulder after every shot. It slips on me. So what I do is I reset every shot is its own match. So I shoot.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Yep. Once I shoot, I just close my eyes, rest a second, because there's no use of looking right away. It's going to take a second for the bullet to show up where I shot at the screen. Take a quick look. I go, all right, I pull the rifle out, and then I get through my thought process. Do I need to make any changes? Or, all right, that was a good shot. I grab a bullet, I get it in, I set it. I have like a way I do it. I put it in the shoulder the same way. I roll over, and then I do my breathing, and then I start working into my shot process.
Now, you said something about, what did you say a minute ago? I was going to ask you about. Oh, you said something about dry firing. And I think I've remember this from when we were in the Navy. That doesn't damage your firing pin or anything like that?
No.
It doesn't? Okay.
No.
So you can dry fire it and...
Yeah, I've never had an issue, and I've dry fired 1,000 times.
Okay. So you can do that practice sequence with a dry fire as many times just to get yourself like maybe settled down so that your heart rate will come down. Because I'm sure there's some jitters, right?
Oh, there definitely can be some jitters. Yeah, it's just you get this chance to literally... get your natural point aim, get your position nice and tight, take a couple dry fire shots, make sure you're on target.
Because I'm sure you get jitters just shooting in front of people. Hell, I get jitters taking a piss in front of somebody.
Yeah, well, the Navy didn't numb that down.
I think it made it worse.
Sometimes on certain competitions, but most of the time you're just with a good group of people. You're like, all right, you sort of get your own program. You're on your line, you're looking at your target down range, and it's just like, I just get focused on what I got to do on my program, what I need to do to try to score in the 10 ring every time. 10 or X, So it's fun because, you're competing against other people, but there's always a wide variety of people at different skill levels. So, but then I compete against myself. What can I do better? What can I change? Ooh, I had a hard trigger pull. I pulled it, or stuff like that. Can I make my program better to make me better? Because you're really, and the mental game is the big one.
Wow.
It can crush really good shooters, the mental game. Probably the same thing with archery.
Oh, it even more so, I think. And like I said, you got your competition coming up on Saturday, so I don't want to talk about it now, because I don't want you to even come remotely close to thinking about the stuff that goes through with archery, because it is different. It's a lot of the same stuff, but it is different. And the stuff that I go through and the stuff I've learned, because the way we do things in archery is different. I don't want that to inject into your brain.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it alone for now. But that's really interesting, man. That's cool.
I fell in love with it, man. It's just so much fun.
And that's something that how long after you quit drinking did you take that on?
I would say about 2 years.
So it took you 2 years to find that.
Yep.
That passion.
Because I got my Connecticut permit, started building rifles, and then I'd say I was about a year into building rifles when my father-in-law approached me and was like, "Hey, what about this?" And I was like, "Let's do it." And it was at a shorter range, just a 200-yard range. And I was like, "Yeah, let's go. Let me try this out." And then I shot, and I fell in love. and I was like, man, this is fun. It's precision rifle, so it's different than what a lot of people think. Like that shoot and see videos on like defensive rifle stuff.
Oh yeah, like that tactical breaching.
Yeah, this is much different. This precision rifle. That's much.
You're not
different.
trying to be like the Navy SEALs kicking in a door. You're trying to. It's more like, like you see it like a sniper situation where you're laying down and you're, being able to take a long range shot at a slow pace.
Yep. Yeah, and that's slow fire. You got pretty much like a minute a shot.
You'd be a really good long range hunter.
I could.
You got a camouflage hat on, so I mean we're already getting the outfit. But
I'm not too bad at 600. I'm getting better. I'm working on it.
Man,
that head position.
Now you said it's built on an AR platform. How long is your barrel?
I have a 20-inch barrel.
Okay, that's a pretty long barrel.
Yeah.
If you had, does that? I mean, that plays into the accuracy of the rifle, I would assume, right?
Yes, it can. So, like for the
and rifling and
yeah,
I know that the grain of the bullet and
so there is a lot of factors into it. Like for the most part, for the rules and for a service rifle, usually 20 inches is the max barrel length, unless you go into like match rifles, and that's a whole different category I don't know much about. But yeah, the rifling, the barrel itself.
Wow. You're gonna have to take me to even if I just come and bring my camera and take some video of you. I'll have to come to one of these.
Yeah, it's a good
I think
time.
it'd be interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, shifting gears just a little bit. I was just yesterday the Cocodona 250. You know what that is, Josh?
No, I don't. Can you explain?
Yeah. So the Cocodona 250, for anyone that's watching this that doesn't know, is a 250-mile race that takes place in Arizona. It starts in Deep Canyon Ranch in Arizona and finishes up in Flagstaff. And it's a ultra marathon race. It's a total of like 256 miles, and it's over the course of I'll say this: it's over the course of however many days it takes. It starts on May 5th, and the official end date is May 10th, because that's just when they stop the clock.
Yeah.
But the way it works, the way these ultra marathons work is they start the clock and it doesn't stop. So it doesn't, these clocks don't stop. So however long it takes you, and if you're the person that's like, one of the people that's going out to try to win this, and you're in contention for a placing, on the podium or whatever, the way it works is you take off, that clock starts, and if you're like number 1, 2, or 3, if you decide you want to lay down and take a nap, and number 2, the clock just keeps going.
Yeah.
And the person behind you, it's not like, I guess the best way to look at it's not like a NASCAR race where there's 500 laps and that's it. So you're racing against people and you're racing against the clock, because the clock establishes the course records also.
Gotcha.
So the winner this year beat the course record by, I think it was an hour, which is pretty remarkable.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty impressive. So he just finished yesterday afternoon, evening time frame. And that was pretty cool. So he finished up today. There's still people running, and it's just, they're still going. I'll tell you, some of the things that I've started doing since I finished up, and I quit drinking, is the big, stacking wins things for me that I've done. I always hunted my whole life, and I'm going to come back to this Cocodona thing here in a minute. I've always hunted my whole life, and I've always enjoyed it, but I've really taken a big approach towards it since I quit drinking, and since then I decided to really put a lot more energy into it. And the one hunting that I decided to start doing was elk hunting.
Ooh, yeah.
And we got a little visitor here. Hold on one second. Come on over here, sweetie. This is my daughter, Nikki. What are you doing, sweetheart? What's up? What do you need? Yeah, go find one. Go ahead. You can go find a snack. She decided she needed a snack and wanted to come down and say hi.
Hey, snacks are important.
They are. So I decided I wanted to get into elk hunting. And, being in Connecticut, there's a couple places on the eastish coast area that have elk. Kentucky's one of them. Pennsylvania has some. But elk hunting over here is not as prevalent as it is on the West Coast. So the bad part about that is that you have to go out west to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I told myself I was going to go elk hunting. I told myself that for years. And while I was drinking, it never did happen because, alcohol was costing me a lot of money. I was never in the shape for it because, let's just face it, alcohol is hard on the body.
Yes, it is.
I would try to get in physical shape for it, and I just couldn't do it. So, I kept telling myself, I'm going to do it one day. I'm going to do it. It was always one day, not day one. So I kept saying, I'm going to do it one day. I'm going to do it one day. Yeah. Well, the year I decided to quit drinking was the year I did it. And I started pouring my energy into it. And I got in my truck and I headed out to Utah.
Well, I remember several conversations after you quit talking at the barbershop and you're like, Josh, I put in for tags. I'm hoping, I get one of these slots for out of state bow hunting. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. And I think the next time I saw you, I was like, oh, Brian's in it to win it. Like you had the truck rigged out to go because you were like, I'm going in the wood. I'm sleeping out there. I'm going to be hiking.
Yep.
I'm living there.
I committed. I quit drinking in 2023 in April. I started getting in physical condition for it. And in 2024, I went. And the reason I was talking about Cocodona is because the thing, and this is all going to tie together. It's all going to work itself together, the whole topic of today.
Don't you all worry.
Yeah, right. It's like a good comedian. A good comedian has a way to tie everything back to the very first thing the comedian says. They're going to work that joke back around at the end. Don't worry.
Which was what? My lack of shooting skills?
Oh, no. So, if you start to look at the elk hunters and some of the best ones out there, they're all in great shape because you have to be. If you look at us lowlanders out here, we're at sea level, dude. There's just no other way around it, right? We live at sea level here in Connecticut. I mean, I'm on the top of this hill that I live on, and it's like, I think I looked at the elevation on my watch. It's like 500 feet, maybe. You know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah,
that's it. That ain't shit. So I knew getting ready to go out to Utah, where the elevation that we were at, I think it was like 8,500 at camp. On days that we were going up high, it was going to be like 10,000 feet. We were going to put in some elevation with the guys I was going to hunt with out there, and I knew it wasn't going to be easy. For me, especially. I mean, these guys are like mountain goats that I was going out there with because they live there.
Yeah, they're like used to that.
Yeah, the one guy, Clint, I mean, the guy smokes and he's still outdoing me. And I worked my ass off before I went out there. But that's because they're just used to it, right? They live at that elevation. But I told myself I'm going to get ready for this. And I started working my ass off. I would ruck all the time with like 100 pounds in a pack, wearing an altitude mask. One time I got stopped by the cops out here. I was coming up my hill. I'm 3 houses from my house. I see a cop car coming, and I'm like, oh, let me get over so he can get past me. And then he's like, the nose of his cop car is following me. I'm like, what the fuck? It's the middle of the day. I'm like, what does he want? It's hotter than hell outside. And he noses his squad car to like block the road so I can't go around. I'm like, dude, I ain't going anywhere fast, man. I got like 100 pounds in this thing.
He was like,
yeah. And he's like, yeah, we got a report of somebody walking through the neighborhood with a mask on. I'm like, I'm like peeling the thing off because I can't breathe. Because as the way it works is there's this valve on the bottom, and you put it on, and the more you close the valve, the less you can breathe. And its job is to force you to breathe harder, which strengthens your lung capacity.
Gotcha. All right.
Which I'll tell you, do I think it helped? I don't know. I'll tell you that if I hadn't done it, I probably would have sucked more out there. So I'm glad I did it. But there's nothing really better to train for altitude than just to be in it. So I'm glad I did it. I'll do it again because I'm not going to take the chance of it not helping. But anyway, he rolls up. I got this mask on, fully closed, sucking the shit out of this thing, and he's like starting to stop me, and I like take the mask off. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" He tells me, and I'm like, "Dude, I live like 2 houses away." I didn't have my ID on me either.
So he's like,
we
got another one.
I got my phone. My wife's not home, and I'm like, I live right over here, dude. And it was while I was still at the barbershop. I cut the guy's hair. Like, he's like, I recognize you. I know who you are. I'm like, he's like, I just got to call it in real quick. He's like, yeah, it's Brian Osborne. He owns a barbershop. He lives right here. They looked me up. They're like, yeah, he lives right in the neighborhood. Somebody called it in. Good on my neighbors. I'd rather them call it in, especially with the crazy world that we live in nowadays. But anyway, so I was doing that, everything I could to get ready for this thing. And I got in I'm still maintaining it, like the best shape of my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would not and could not have been able to do that while I was drinking. Couldn't have. I didn't even have the focus.
Yeah.
I didn't have the focus because all I was focused on was getting to the next drink. So, and if you're watching this, you're going to see the passion that I have in this. Not necessarily in the elk hunting portion of it. It's the passion and how animated I'm getting about the fact that I was not doing anything with my life but pouring it down my guts drinking alcohol. And then when I put that beside me and got it out of the lens of what was important, I was able to start committing to the goals that I had wanted to do, but I couldn't. And this was a big one. Like elk hunting was something I had dreamed about doing, but there was no way I could do it while still drinking because physically I wasn't going to be able to. Mentally, I could not get focused enough. Yeah, I was bow hunting. I was going to Pennsylvania, bow hunting for deer hunting around here, but I was never going to get focused enough to commit what it would take to be physically and mentally ready to go out to Utah. And I would constantly tell myself, one day. Maybe one day.
Isn't it crazy how
Maybe one day.
You find passions, but we put them to the back seat to drinking or
all the time.
Put whatever addiction that it gets put in the front seat.
Right.
And all this awesome stuff just gets put to the back seat to the good time.
Yep. And that's
that we think at the time is a good it's crazy.
And that's all I kept on doing. And really what it was coming down to is I was just making excuses. I was making excuses in my head, maybe not voicing them, maybe not saying it out loud, but I would make an excuse and I wasn't making time, right? Because here's the deal. I can't say how many times I used to do it, and I'm sure there's still times I do every now and then, but ever since I quit drinking and ever since I committed to that, to being able to do that first elk hunting trip, I've promised myself I wouldn't do this anymore. Is I'm no longer going to make excuses because what happens is if I truly find something I want to do, I can't tell you how many times I tell to somebody, I'm like, hey man, why didn't, you want to get this done or you want to do this? Oh man, I couldn't find the time to do it. They want to, and that just tells me the people don't really want to do something because when you say you can't find the time, I'm just going to call everybody the carpet that says that shit. And if you don't like it, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just calling you out because I was the guy. I was the guy that always said, I can't find time to quit drinking in my head, or I can't find time. There's no such thing as finding time. I used to talk about this in the barbershop, Josh, all the time. Yeah. I used to tell people, there's no such thing as finding time. You got to make it.
If
If
it's
you
that
say,
important,
well, I can't find time to exercise, there's time in the day. If you say you can't find time to spend with your kids, you're full of shit. You got to make it. So
it's
if you-
prioritizing.
it's all about it, right? And I'm not trying to get on a soapbox and preach to anybody. I'm only saying this stuff because once you commit that you want to make yourself a better person and put these demons behind you, you can do it, and you can start to put yourself first and your family first and make yourself better. So that, and that's the stack and wins mindset.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this is about. Like, you
Right.
just slowly start changing your mindset, changing your priorities, realizing push all this away. Now it's like, oh man, and it's just you get such a great feeling when you start completing things that used to be on the list that always gets put to the side in the back seat, that now you're like, I can do this.
You
And
probably
you start building your confidence.
there were
in
probably
yourself.
times when you wanted to do things like, build your first AR or do the stuff your father-in-law was doing. Be like, I ain't got time for that. And then you go to the bar.
Yep.
Or I ain't got time for that. And then you'd swing by somebody's house and have some drinks on the way home.
Or a lot of times I didn't even just think about any of that stuff. I was just, I want to drink.
You only had time for one thing.
And that was my priority. And
It's just unbelievable. So what happens is, as you start to put the demons away and open yourself up for more positive and constructive things in your life, you start to realize that you start to become full of energy to want to do things that are not just better for yourself, because if you better yourself, you're going to better your family. Whether you
Yes.
have a family of a spouse, a significant other, whatever it is, kids, it doesn't matter. It could be your parents. I could be talking right now. There used to be this young kid that came into the barbershop. He was like in his 20s, going to AA meetings. We talk all the time. Great kid. He knows who he is if he's out there listening. And it just goes to show that even a young guy like that was doing better because he was putting that shit behind him.
Yeah.
But you start to find ways to be more constructive in a positive way with your time instead of doing that. And then the interesting part about it is you find ways to not say no to the things that you wanted to do, right? And you may still be wondering how this is going to circle back to the Cocodona, and I'm getting there. So what happens is, as you start to increase and get better, you find yourself able to accomplish tasks and accomplish things that you wanted to get done. So for me, that tough ruck, I talked about it in the first 2 podcasts.
Yes.
I had been wanting to do that thing probably for like 5 or 6 years. Even after I even after I quit drinking, I wanted to do it. And I kind of forgot about it, I think, and I'm not trying to make an excuse. I think I just kind of like slipped out of my mind for the last couple of years. And then as I got in shape for elk hunting and got some other things prioritized and figured out, it circled back around. I think I might have saw something pop up for it, and I was like, I'm doing it.
Like,
I'm in the
bam.
right headspace now. Physically, I'm where I need to be. I'm doing that son of a bitch. And I signed up for it. But I had even signed up for it in years past while I was still drinking and then didn't do it.
It was like, nah.
Because I was like, I can't do that. I'm fat, out of shape. There's no way I can do this. I'm a drinker. Like I can't do this. Well, let me tell you, as things have gotten and I'm telling you right now, I'm getting somewhere really important with this. As I started to build on, and I talked about it in the first episode, and I talked a little bit about it more in the other one. As I started to build a stronger mindset, I knew that no matter what, I'd be able to do it. No matter what, I'd be able to accomplish it. And that's why this year, when I signed up for it, I'm like, I could do this. I'll do this thing on broken legs because my mind was strong enough to be able to accomplish it. So this Cocodona that that these guys are finishing up right now. One of them is a guy who I have a lot of respect for. And he's one of the guys I started following early on in my elk hunting adventure that I started to want to go down. And his name's Cameron Hanes. And if you don't know who Cameron Hanes is now, go look him up. I'm going to give you I don't want to spoil it though, so I'm going to give you a little bit about him, just to give you enough to be, just to give you enough. I keep this bookshelf back here because it's got a lot of good stuff. Just to give you enough to be interested enough to go look. But I'm going to tell you something about this dude. So he was the first sponsored athlete for Under Armour. Now he's not with Under Armour anymore. He's moved on like a few years ago. But first sponsored athlete with Under Armour. And he wasn't like a football player. He was an endurance athlete, ultra runner, bow hunter. And he was their first athlete that was sponsored. Now let's think about that for a minute. He wasn't a basketball player for the NBA. He wasn't a football player. He wasn't some major league baseball player. I just told you his resume. And he was their first sponsored athlete. That tells you something about the guy. He's running the Cocodona right now. We're going to have a little guest appearance again. Hey, what's up?
I get a snack.
I just told you yes. You can have a snack.
Like another one.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, good. I love you.
Hi, my name's Nicole Osborne. How do
Okay.
you do?
They're doing great. All right, now go play. Okay, so back to Nikki says hi. So back to Cameron Hanes. So he was our first sponsored athlete. This guy is a world-renowned elk hunter. And if you're not a hunter, that's fine. You don't have to be to respect this, right? For someone that's willing to put in, you can be great at whatever you do, whether it's a car mechanic, you could be a great competition shooter, you could be a great bodybuilder. No matter what it is you're great at doing, you understand how much work it takes to be great at it. You could be the best window washer in New York City on the planet. You understand how much work it takes to be great at whatever it is you're doing. So that's what Cameron Hanes is. This guy is 57 years old and he's running the Cocodona 250 right now. He's probably getting pretty close to finishing it if he's not done yet. Last I looked, he still had I think 60 miles to go. 60 miles. So think about that for a minute. 57 years old, and he's running a 250-mile ultra race. So this is one of the guys that I started really kind of following, watching because of how well he was as an elk hunter, watching because of his fitness and thinking, man, this guy's got his shit together. And thinking, if I'm going to start doing things like someone does, this is going to be one of the guys that I kind of look up to try to model myself after. But at first I still wasn't there because I was still drinking. Well, now that I'm not drinking, I'm like, I'm going to start. I'm only 45.
Yeah.
If this 57-year-old could do it, I can do it too.
Just get in the right mindset, man. Your confidence is better, Brian.
That's it. So if you think so that's part of what the Cocodona is that I'm talking about. He's running it. He's not going to win it. The winner's already done. But he's running it. On top of it, he broke his foot a month and a half ago.
What?
Or whatever, however long ago.
Yeah.
I don't even know exactly.
Wow.
He broke it a while ago. It never really healed. And then on top of it, he re-injured it not all that long ago before he got ready to run this race. And he's still running it.
And he's still going.
He's still going.
Sticking it out.
And he's sticking it out.
He's going mile after mile.
And he's going to finish this. So what does that all mean? Why did I bring up the Cocodona? Why am I talking about Cameron Hanes, who's an elk hunter, who some people that's going to watch this and listen to it are like, I don't even elk hunt. I don't even hunt. I don't like hunting. Because it's not even about that. What it's about is when you decide that, maybe I don't want to drink anymore. Maybe I decided today is the last day I'm going to put that shit or yesterday was. I'm not going to do it tonight. It takes so much willpower to be able to quit. And it's all in your head. Josh already talked about it, and he didn't even realize where I was going with this. But it takes mental strength to be able to shoot 10 rings when he's doing his long-range competition shooting. Just like it takes nothing but mental strength to work through every single second of quitting alcohol. And it takes mental strength to work through 250 miles of a Cocodona 250 or any type of event like this, physical event like this. It takes mental strength to become the best at whatever it is you want to do. If you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning when you're getting ready to go to work and you're an alcoholic, but you're the best at what you do, you already have what it takes to quit.
Yep.
Because you're the best at what you're doing. You just need to apply that same mindset to what you're doing at work to be the best at what you're doing, to be the best at quitting alcohol. And you can do it. It just takes a step every second of every day towards that goal of quitting. That's how you circle it back to the Cocodona 250 and how I was going to do it. So, you see why it's important? I have some goals of my own, and I'm going to put them out here right now so you guys can help hold me accountable. We got our guest appearance again. What's up, sweetie? Okay, I need you to go take these upstairs. Go on, go play. Is your mom home? Go see mom. Oh, okay, that's so cool. She just got some new stuffed animals from a friend. Okay.
Hi.
Go.
Hello, my name's Nicole Osborne. How do you do?
Okay, go.
They said have kids. They'd be great.
I know, and they are.
They
They're so much fun. So getting this back, I'm gonna put out some goals I have, and this is so that people can check in on me and see how I'm doing with them. My goals for the rest of the year, I'm going elk hunting again, in Utah. At the end of the month, I have a TAC that's coming up, Total Archery Challenge. I've already talked about that.
That's right. That's right.
Next weekend, I have a Tough Mudder I'm doing with a friend of mine that he wants to accomplish, and I told him I would do it with him, which I've never done a Tough Mudder or Spartan race or any of them sloppy ass things where you climb around in the mud and go over a bunch of obstacles. I've never done one, so I don't know what to expect. But I'm down because I know that I have the mental strength that I might not do it fast. I'm 45. I don't do a lot of things fast anymore. I might not do it fast, but I will not quit. Period. That's just all there is to it. I might, my body might shut down and you'll be like hauling me out in an ambulance, but I'm not going to quit. And then Memorial Day weekend, on Memorial Day, I'm doing the Murph. If you don't know what the Murph is, I'll just tell you instead of making you look it up because I don't want to force you to have to do that. It is a mile. Okay, I'll tell you what it is. I'll summarize it a little better. 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, sandwiched in between a mile on either side of that.
Oh, okay.
It's named after Mike Murphy, the Medal of Honor recipient, Navy SEAL that died over in Afghanistan.
Yes.
It's done every Memorial Day weekend on Memorial Day. You can choose to do it like I just said. The circuit is the same. You can do it weighted or unweighted, either weighted with a 20-pound vest on or unweighted without a vest. I'm not going to do it weighted this year. I've done it weighted in the past. I don't plan on wearing a vest because I want to save my knees. Because next year, I plan on doing an ultra marathon, which is any marathon that's longer than a marathon. Trail marathon. I'm planning on doing an ultra trail marathon. I'm going to sign up for, I don't know if I'll get picked because this one is limited entry, to the Mid-State Mile down in Tennessee.
Okay. What's that?
So there's a show on Amazon about this one. It's actually pretty funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the Mid-State Mile, it's just one more mile. That's what they say, right? Chad Wright was the winner of this for 2 years in a row. Do you know who Chad Wright is?
Yes.
You should. He's a fellow ginger.
Yes, he's also an
He's a Navy SEAL.
Navy SEAL. Has a program, a lot of podcasts about
Really great beard.
staying positive,
He
living
does.
life.
Chad Wright
Yes.
accomplished this 2 years. The first year he did it, he didn't even train for it. He just walked in there and did it. So Chad Wright was the winner of it for 2 years in a row. What it is it's a 1 mile loop. It's got 300 feet of elevation gain and loss on every mile. You got 20 minutes to finish it. But that's it. That's all there is to it. 1 mile loop. The way it works is everybody has to be in the starting gate before the whistle goes off to take off again. You got 20 minutes, though, for every mile loop. The kicker is if you get done before the 20 miles, you can rest. Or I'm sorry, 20 minutes, not 20 miles. If you get done before the 20 minutes, you can rest. And it keeps going until there's a winner. So the way this works is when it gets down to one person or two people left, and then it gets down to one, the last person has to run 1 more mile by themselves and accomplish it within the 20-minute window to be crowned the winner. If nobody is able to finish if that person doesn't finish it within a 20-minute window, then there's no winner that year.
Oh.
The big part about this is that it keeps going until there's a winner. One of the years that Chad Wright won it, there was like 117 miles they did before there was a winner.
Oh, wow.
Every 12 hours they do a 20-minute intermission. So for every 12 hours that they're going, they stop and let them have 20 minutes. That's it. You just keep running.
And you could tap out at any time. If you're done, you're done.
Oh, you can quit, but
Or
if that's
you don't
in your-
meet the 20 minutes.
but if you come in after the 20 minutes,
you're out.
You're out.
So it's just sort of
There's no
Slowly picking
there's no
people
coming
off
in
on it.
last place on the loop. Nobody gives it. They don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
You just got 20 minutes.
so there's only really 2 ways. Well, 3 ways. You injure yourself, you decide to walk away, or you don't meet the 20 minutes
That's
for that
it.
mile.
So, yep. There's if you look it up on Amazon Prime, the thing's on there. It's
I'll
called
check-
like Mid-State one more mile or 1 mile or something like that.
I'll
Just look up
check it
Chad.
out.
It's good. I'm going to sign up for that next year and see if I can get into it. But like I said, there's limited entry. They only pick so many people.
Okay.
The ones that were in it the year before or have done it before, they automatically get first dibs if they want to come back. Yeah. So it's tough to get into it, but I want to try to get selected for that.
Okay.
And then so ultra, mid-state mile, and then my goal is to also do a 100 mile ultra next year. Those are my goals for next year. And then 2027, I want to run a 250, or 240 or 250, either Moab or Cocodona.
Good for you, man.
Oh, and I'm hunting Montana next year for elk because I'll have enough points to get a bull tag.
Nice.
So those are my big goals. Just throwing that out there. Why is all this important on a podcast that talks about alcohol and how to work through that? Because none of this would be possible for me if I was still drinking. None of it. I'd just be going through the motions, coming home every day, swallowing a gallon of booze and not giving a shit. But these goals that I'm setting are attainable, and the stuff that I've been able to accomplish since I quit is all attainable. I've become a better person, a better husband, a better father, a better son-in-law, a better friend because of the fact that I've been able to quit drinking. And I can set my sights. I wouldn't have even dreamed of setting my sights on something like the Cocodona 250
Yeah, not at all. 0%.
in 2
Yeah.
years if it weren't for the fact that I quit drinking alcohol. And then there's a special one that's coming up, but I won't talk about that one yet because that's with a buddy of mine, and that's in 2029. If he listens, he'll know what I'm talking about.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm going to finish up with one last one, and then Josh has got one that's pretty heartfelt to him that I'll let him talk about. Actually, I have two, and then we'll tie it up. So One of the guys that I work with listened to the podcast, the last 2 episodes, thought it was great. And he turned me on to the song by Jelly Roll. You ever heard the song Winning Streak?
If I heard it, I'd probably say, yeah, I'm horrible with titles.
Yeah, I'm
names.
the same
Yeah.
way. I actually had never heard this song. I wouldn't have recognized, I wouldn't have related the two, even if I had heard it, but I had never heard this song this time. I'll start off with this. If you've never heard Jelly Roll's story, have you heard his story?
Yes, it's pretty wild. Like,
Not only is it wild, but that guy, let me just tell you, if you ever get an opportunity to hear him just like in a setting like this where he talks,
yeah,
boy, oh boy, like just sit back, give him the platform.
yeah,
Because I listened to him one day on a Bobby Bones show, like in the morning on the way to work. I didn't want him to stop talking.
yeah. He just
Like it's almost like you were in a sermon.
he's got a story to tell.
And first of all, his voice is very powerful, just the tone of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the things he has to say and the words he uses to put it all together, he's got something going on. So when he told me about it, I was like, well, let me listen to it. So there's some parts to the song that I thought were really cool. And what the song is about, the song was Jelly Roll wrote this. So he's goes to AA for his sobriety because he's recovering from alcohol and all kinds of drugs. I mean, he'll admit that he shoved more drugs into his system than that's enough to kill people. And he wrote the song after witnessing, and I wrote this down because I didn't want to mess it up. After witnessing an exchange at an AA meeting where a veteran AA member said, "Nobody comes here on a winning streak." I'm going to let that sink in for a minute. I'm going to say it again. Nobody comes here on a winning streak. Now, like I said, I mean, I've never been to AA, but I mean, I stepped into my dining room basically all but begging my wife to help me with this. I'm sure it's the same thing when you walk into an AA meeting, because you're at the lowest of lows. You've lost. You've lost all hope in yourself to be able to accomplish it on your own. But think about that. Nobody walks through these doors on a winning streak. You're tired, and he's got other ones like tired of being broken, going to a meeting looking for help, and losing himself on his first day of sobriety. So, I mean, think about that, Josh. What's your thoughts on all that?
I think it's very sombering. Like to think it, like to go, oh wow, yeah. Like people don't run there or go through there if they don't have problems. They haven't, struck out on the bottom of the ninth every time. Like it's very sombering to go, whew, yeah, that you don't do that unless you're losing.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Unless you're losing, you're not going there on a winning streak. It's not like, because if you're at the top of the world, you're not going to go there.
Right.
Like
if you got it all figured out.
Yeah, you're not walking through those doors.
Like I got this figured out. I don't need to go to some church and drink some shitty coffee and eat a donut from yesterday afternoon.
And listen to these other people talk and
right.
pour their hearts out.
Right. So I thought that was, and the song's good.
I'll have to hit it up.
You should.
Yeah,
I downloaded it. As soon as I listened to it on YouTube when I was sitting there, and I was like, oh, add that to the playlist.
Yeah, I have to. I probably have heard it on the radio. I just don't know the title.
Yeah. It's called Winning Streak. Nobody goes there on a winning streak. And it's so true. Like when you finally, especially when you finally say, you know what, I need someone's help because I cannot accomplish this on my own. You realize that I gotta get someone else to help me with this. You are, like you said, you're batting for zero,
Yep.
So yeah, I wanted to bring that up because I was just hoping that if that hits with anybody, maybe it'll help. Just even things like music. Music resonates with everybody, And if you can hear a song like that and you're like, you know what, man, I'm gonna go check it out because I think it's important. Okay. I said I had one more thing after I actually got two. And then I'm gonna turn it over to Josh because I know Josh has got something really important. Okay, so check this out. When we were kids, my mom used to say this all the time. She used to say, I'm sure this was like, I guess, a thing where I grew up. I'm sure we've all heard this. She used to say, you're guilty by association.
Mm-hmm.
If your friend breaks in someone's house and you're with them, you may not have stole something, but if they did, you're gonna be in trouble too. We've all heard that kind of stuff, right? Well, here's a school of thought, and I kind of talked about. I'm leading into something I already kind of talked about a little bit with Cameron Haynes, right? So if you're struggling and you're having trouble figuring out how to find a path to get on to be better with this, if you're addicted to alcohol, and you know who you are, let's just face it. I don't need to tell you. Josh doesn't need to tell you. Your spouse doesn't need to tell you. You already know who you are. The first part to getting better is admitting to yourself. But if you're struggling, one of the things that's important is taking a real hard look, not only internally and admitting that, but then start looking around, right? Just like I said, guilty by association. This has changed from when I was a kid and Josh were kids, right? We're in our 40s. When we were kids, and for anybody that's watching this, if you're younger and you grew up and the phone was always in your hand and you always had access to social media, then this part of this that I'm about to talk to may not resonate as much with you, but I'm about to make a point. When we were kids, we didn't have access to cell phones because they didn't even exist then. So we went out and we ran around with our friends, and we had to just basically pay attention to who our friends were. And if one of our friends was screwing shit up, or if we were the ones screwing shit up, next thing you know, our friends weren't allowed to hang out with us, right? Because our parents would say, or their parents would say, like, hey, you're not hanging out with Brian because he's a bad influence. He has you doing things you shouldn't be doing, or he has you, every time you go over to his house, you come home and you're not eating dinner because they don't have any rules over there, and you're eating ice cream at 4:30 in the afternoon. You come home at 5 and you're not eating dinner because you just eat a bunch of crap over there. So if you see where I'm going with this, like, whoever you're hanging out with or you're influenced by can directly impact how you act and how the things that you do. Well, it used to be just kind of like one-on-one personal relationships, face-to-face, if you will, when we were kids. Well, as we've gotten older and as times have changed, that one-on-one personal relationships has also begun to include things on the phone, like your social media influences. And when it first started with things like Facebook, that one-on-one personal relationships just kind of transferred over. It would be just your friends, like say maybe your high school friends that you just started following on Facebook, or your local friends or whoever. In our cases, maybe your shipmates or if you're, whatever branch you were in, whatever. It was just your friends, and then you were just doing that on Facebook. And then as the social medias have evolved, you started to follow people like, I gave an example earlier, like Cameron Haynes or whoever, in some cases, maybe like the Kardashians or whoever you're following. Well, here's the deal. If everything that you follow or you associate with is all negative, and what I mean by that is, like, if everything you look at is a shitty lifestyle, like the person eats like crap, they make, bad decisions, or they're always drinking, or they're not healthy, or doing things like that, guess what's going to happen if your whole social media feed is filled with that? It's going to impact you. And I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. And I'm not trying to like sit here and become the the podcast. It is nothing but I'm not trying to be negative. All I'm trying to do is point out things that you already probably have stewing around in the back of your head that took me forever to kind of put into perspective so that I could get myself on the right path. I had to go through and reevaluate where I was in order to start making the positive changes. I had to go through when I was an alcoholic and say, I'm not going to follow Buffalo Trace anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going to follow Dogfish Head anymore because I don't want those influences in my life. I don't want to see someone pouring this craft beer that looks so good.
Well, you're trying to quit. And
when I'm trying to remove those temptations.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are one of those people that is having trouble and wanting to quit drinking alcohol, start by removing the temptations from your social media feed, because those are the same things your parents were probably doing when you were a kid and you were hanging out with negative influences as children that were having you do things you shouldn't do, like breaking into people's houses or
ding dong ditch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Or, sled riding down the hill face first into trees or whatever it was that you were doing wrong. You know what I'm saying? So start to take a real hard look at what it is you're doing that is continuously keeping you being influenced by the stuff you're trying to remove from you. And next thing you know, you'll be like, it starts to get a little easier. Don't go to the places where the temptations are. Instead of stopping by, the local bar or your local hangout place, like I'm going to name some places because I don't know what to summarize them as, like a Kiwanis Club or an Elks or a VFW or whatever. Just go home. And if the boys start asking or the whoever says, hey, why weren't you there last night? Just be like, I had to work on it's okay to make excuses that aren't necessarily true to better yourself and your family. Just say, hey, I had stuff going on at the house. I had to get home and work on painting a bedroom. And it's okay, because what's better for you and your family may not be better for the bar people that you're hanging out with. And that's okay. And trust me, in the long run, it will be better. Because I'm not giving medical advice, but I'm just going to throw this out there. People, I'll just leave that alone. Anyway, so I'm just telling you, take care of yourself, and it's worthwhile. Last thing, this has to do with guests. If you want to be a guest on a show, which we have some people that's reached out, and I'm just working through a couple more technical things I need for this all to work.
Tech guy.
I'm working on it. I'm learning every day. I'm sure this is why people get paid for that. Like, they get paid money just to do this stuff, and I'm trying to figure it all out. Every day I plug something in, I'm like, well, that didn't work. So tech guy here is wanting to know, if you want to be a guest on a show, you can send a message on the Instagram account, the Stack and Win Show podcast, or whatever, the Instagram account. It comes right to me. Nobody else sees it but me, and I talk to Josh about it. Just send me a message, and we can make it work. I'm not going to put my phone number out here. Some people that watch this stuff already has it. You can send me a text if you want. If you want to leave a comment, you can, that you want to be a guest. That's fine. I did want to leave you with this. I know that the idea, and I'm going to tell you why I know this, the idea of being on a show like this can seem very intimidating to people. I know that the idea of sharing your story can seem intimidating, and that's totally natural. And I also understand that sitting in front of a camera and talking like we are right now can seem very unnatural. I'm going to hit on that one first. During COVID, I didn't even have social media. And my wife was like, maybe you should get social media. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're all stuck in a house. And I'm like, I don't want it. I got rid of social media because it got real negative. I didn't have anything. She's like, no, you should. You're doing a lot of cooking. Maybe you should get it back. And I was like, I don't want it. I went like 5 years with nothing. And then she's like, go ahead and do it. Just focus on cooking. Only, get friends that are, people you trust, and only focus on, like chefs and that sort of stuff. I'm like, fine. So I got it back and I was posting stuff about cooking. Dude, I did like 400 posts about cooking. Never once. And I was tempted. I wanted to do some video posts on Instagram.
Yeah.
Never got the courage to do it. I was like, no way, man. I'm not going to stand there and look like an idiot. Because just the thought of having a video feed of me like trying to explain things and someone critiquing me
Yeah.
was like, I was not going to have that happen.
Like, not this guy.
I'll just tell you, like, it seems intimidating, but it's not. It's really not. Like, I got over it. I started doing the New England bow hunter stuff and doing videos with that stuff, and it's not bad. It seems a little awkward at first, and then you just have fun with it. It's just all about having fun. Why do I think that it's important is because sharing our experiences and people being able to see us for who we are, I think is one of the most important parts of this whole process, because there's people that we've served with that have already, I know we've talked about this off camera, Josh, but there's a lot of people that we've served with that have reached out to both of us personally and said how impactful this has already been to them. And that means a lot. And that wouldn't be possible if we weren't doing this.
Yep.
And there's people that are not in recovery that want to be, that's talked to us. There's people that are in recovery that's talked to us. And there's people that are sober because and trying to get sober because of what they're seeing with us.
Yeah.
And the fact that because what I think it comes down to is this: there's people that are seeing what we're doing that are like, holy shit, that's Brian and John. Like, I didn't know they were alcoholics.
Yeah.
I didn't know they went through that. And they know who we are. They got a face to it. They're hearing the stories, and they're like, I can relate to that. And those are guys I know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm not alone in a dark room anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they just turned on the nightlight for me, and they're in here with me. They're in here struggling with me.
Yeah.
So you're not alone. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're not the guy first day that Jelly Roll talks about, nobody walks through the doors on a winning streak. You're not.
Yeah.
We're there with you. We've been there. So my point is if you want to be a guest, you can have that same impact on someone that we may not know, but you do.
Yep.
And you could bring that same type of influence, and the wave just gets bigger. It just keeps getting bigger. The more people we could get to sit in this chair, we can just increase the impact of positivity that we're having with this by having more and more and more people sharing their experience, sharing how they're getting better from it, and what they're doing after it. So that's why it's so important that we do it. And I understand that people are nervous about sharing their experiences and having it on the internet. But I'll tell you, I think it's important. I do. So I'm not trying to pressure anyone. And if you're one of the people I've talked to and you don't want to, don't feel pressured. Please don't. You do it at your own speed. If you never want to, then don't do it. But if you do, reach out to me, reach out to Josh, let us know, and we will get you on here. Okay. I'm all done. I'm going to turn it over to Josh. He's got a couple things or whatever he wants to talk about, and then we'll finish this up.
Yeah. So when we talk about doing things when we're sober, vice, drinking, one thing I really hit my heart is volunteering. Like, I have found out that I have a lot more time, a lot more joy. Like, I've been volunteering at my home church. Like, I do stuff with like the kids. I help lead them with different things like learning verses, stuff like that, playing around with them. Like I just dressed up like a guy with a mullet and a muscle suit and ran around with the kids, got them all hyped up. You're just having fun with them. It really brings you joy watching them, those relationships,
Yeah.
even as little kids. And I got back into cooking again.
Oh yeah. Remember, Josh was a cook in the Navy.
And I sort of got away from any big time cooking, stuff like that, because I just sort of always drank when I cooked. So
Oh yeah.
I was constantly not, I guess, super reliable. And recently I've been asked, and I did an event this weekend for like 300 ladies. They were coming together for a convention, had a guest speaker. They were really putting it out there, themselves, worshiping the Lord. And I got to help out by letting the staff worry about that event and not food. They could focus on all the women there. And it was so much fun. I had a couple guys volunteer, but it was so much fun having a little bit of the stress, organizing everything. And I was like, man, I forgot how much fun this is.
Yeah.
And it's just, I really love, like we talk about, hey, go pursue stuff. I get not everybody has the financial means.
Mm-hmm.
But volunteering, it's so worth it because it doesn't cost anything usually to volunteer locally. You're giving back to your community and you're giving back to yourself really because you're building new relationships. You're starting new foundations with people, and you're building yourself up. You're building your mindset going, you know what? I am good enough. I can help other people. I can do this. I can help out. And it could be just simple stuff, and it doesn't have to be, like I said, with my sobriety, I renewed my faith, and it could be at a local shelter. It could be, anything in your area. It should just be helping out at the local T-ball game, but you just help other people out, and it just feels really good. Like I get so much joy volunteering my time to just meet new people. Like I'm telling you, the kids. Some days, man, it's like oof, you're just not feeling it.
Oh yeah.
And then, but by the end of the time with those kids, I'm like, man, watching their smiles, watching them, push through learning these Bible verses, and they come to you and they give you the high fives, and they're like, Mr. Josh, it's so good to see you. It's like, my frown turns upside down, how cliche that is, but it is so worth it. And then like just helping cook again and doing that stuff, I forgot how much I loved it. And once again, getting to work with different people, building relationships, and stuff like that. And I'm just like, gosh, it's pretty much a free way to get out there and maybe find a passion that you didn't know you had, because now you got the time and you're working on the right mindset.
Here it is.
And I'm telling you, I have really fell in love with the volunteering thing. Like it's so good to give back. It's so good to help others. It's got me feeling good. It's got me feeling pumped up like the guy I was pretending to be last night with my bodybuilder suit on and my mullet and my sunglasses.
Did you get pictures of this?
There is some. I have not got them back to me, so I could take a look.
I think we need to put those up on the Instagram page.
Yeah. And maybe I was rocking some 80s style Zumba pants.
I think you need to send me some of those and put them up.
So, because Kay is like, I need to see some photos. I was like, some other people took videos and photos. I need to find them. I was having a blast.
Yeah.
But it got a little hot. Let's just say I was getting a little sweaty. But I had a headband on.
Oh, yeah. We need those.
Yeah.
We need some
it was a good time, but it was so much fun, And I would never do that stuff if I wasn't sober and in the right mindset and building my, myself up with, like you said, surrounding myself with good people.
Right.
That's including social media. It can be as just of an influence to somebody as actually talking to the people around you.
Right.
Your social media is very, in today's age.
I believe that.
But I tell you, as we keep talking about all these things, we're going to keep throwing stuff out there, other ideas. I love all the fitness stuff. Like I said, one of my goals is to get myself physically ready to do that tough ruck.
Oh,
with
you're
you.
doing it. You don't have a choice.
As long as I'm not out of, if they pick the right day that we talked about, I'm good.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's always a Sunday before the.
So I should be home from Hawaii. So
yeah.
So by that point, I should be physically ready. But
Oh, you're gonna be.
we're gonna get after it. That's a goal, is to get after that. Actually, I had a guy I work with. They're like, Josh, what, a marathon? I was like, I'm gonna show you.
Yep.
And I was like, all
That's
right.
right.
So, but it's all about that mindset, right? Mindset, stack of wins, little
Oh,
things.
man.
These Cadonas, the different races. I was just gonna say, I was talking to somebody. They do a lot of little. You don't even have to run walking marathon, like half marathons, 5Ks, different things. Just go out there and do it.
I'm
Get
telling
after
you,
it.
man.
Find passions, painting, anything. I'm telling you, find something constructive to do. Start reading again. We've lost that, honestly, as an art in today's society with social media.
Yeah.
Is reading books. Like,
People's thumbs get more work than anything.
Yeah.
That's the biggest. They got the biggest workout of the day.
yeah. And I love it. I love it. I'm gonna also try to take some. I'm not good at it, but over this weekend, try to take some snippets on the range.
Oh yeah. You got.
Yeah.
Who's going with you?
It's just I'm going solo this time because my father-in-law's out of town. So I mean, there'll be other people like shooting, but I'll try to get some.
Do you know
selfies.
anybody that's going to be there?
I know a couple of people there. So most of them, they're from the local range there.
I might have a tripod around here. And what you could do is you could take it with you, put your phone in it, set it up, and just hit record while you're shooting. Just get a few shots of you shooting and stuff.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I have a little small tripod you could take with you. Just so you can get some videos for the content. Yeah. That'd be good. We can get some pictures and stuff of Josh shooting. Yeah.
Get some instant feedback on my posture.
I think you're going to do great.
But yeah, it's good stuff, man. Good stuff. I love it.
Yeah. We're doing great. All right. You got anything else, Josh?
That's it, man.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps out. And pass on the word to everybody you know to come over and check it out. Go to the Instagram page and follow us on Instagram. And we really appreciate everything you guys are doing to help support us. And we're going to get some more good stuff for you. So thank you, everybody. We really appreciate everything. And we'll see you next time.
And don't forget to keep stacking.
Keep stacking wins.
Bingo.
All right. Have a good one, guys. Thanks.